All right. I'm gonna get started here in just a moment. Welcome. Heyo. I wonder if chat's actually functioning this time. Maybe, possibly. Maybe not. All right, we'll see what happens. How y'all doing tonight? Ah, there it is. Nice. Took a second, but that's okay. Welcome to the Spook Hour. Welcome. We're going to be taking a look at a short selection of videos tonight, and depending on how much time we have at the end, maybe getting into a particular topic or two. Yes, the spookiness begins. The first spook we're going to look at today might be of particular interest to Duchess, as I understand she has prior experiences with this sort of spook. Requiring of the spook, we all are indeed. So this fella is hearing noises in his house. Stuff's moving around his house. So two interesting things happen. First, he's looking around, and I'll turn this down so that we can hear it. The faucet starts on its own.
When the sink turns on by itself, things really start to take an even stranger turn.
So that's just interesting, right? Then there's the really interesting part. The reason that it's here. Oh, I gotta back it up. There we go.
And he can capture the following shadow person on his camera. He disappears into the room where he is staying in.
That one got me really good the first time I saw it. Because, and I'm glad he didn't put the musical sting on it this time. Because it's like nothing, and then it freaking moves. And it's good. And then he bolts into the room, and there might be some space for somebody to get away, but that first time it happens is pretty damn good. Let's back it up.
Shadow person on his camera.
Because it doesn't look like anything, right? He knows that there's something there that's amiss, and he points, and then it moves.
He disappears into the room where he is staying in.
And oh, there's another bang. What, the door slam?
What could he capture that night on video?
And it just leaves.
A family
just
home in
bolts.
Poland was.
Oh, we're back that up. So yeah, this one's interesting. Just because I find shadow people creepy, but I know Duchess says she's had past experience with them, and I've never had any experience with them. Was there a plant or something in that spot? I don't know. We can back that up. Are you talking about back when there was a faucet? Back when we were talking about the faucet? Because I know there was a part before he was calling somebody's name. Oh, no, he points right. All right, we'll go back. We'll go back and look at it again. Right, he puts the circle right on it. Oh, no, that's a alright. So there's a doorway on the right at the end of this hallway. Yeah, yeah. Watch, watch. The guy zooms in on it with his camera, right? It doesn't look like anything, but he points at it and then it moves. I'll back it up.
He disappears into the room where he is staying in.
And it doesn't look like there's any exit from that room. And then there's another bang. Oh, yeah.
What could he capture that night on video?
Like he points at it and everything, and then it just yoop, bails.
A family home in Poland was...
So that's the first one. And that's pretty darn interesting. And I was wondering, Duchess, how that compares with your experience with shadow people. If it's just that corner... Hold on, I gotta turn this music down. There we go. That's better. Yeah, does that line up with your experience? Oh, in front of the mirror. Oh, no, no. No, it's right. You're talking about that plant thing right there. No, no, it's right there in the door. It's right there in the doorway, leaning out of the doorway, and then it zoom, yoinks its head away, or whatever the hell it is.
Disappears into the room where he's staying in.
And it doesn't look like there's an exit out of that room. I think the door slams behind him.
What could he capture that night on video?
Yeah, that's spooky as hell. Because it's like, they never have any features, right? No matter how much lighting is around, it's always 0 features. Peripheral visions. They didn't move until you looked directly. Right, right, like this thing. Like he pointed it out, and that's when it bailed. Or would yours not even hang around that long? Because it feels like once he points at it, it's like, oh shit, and it bails.
A family home in Poland was...
Let's see, what's the next one? So, yeah, we're gonna move on to the next one. But that's, I love a good shadow person one, and that's a good shadow person one. And he runs up afterwards, like it's got all the good bits we like. Let's see here. The next one, oh yeah. I think this is the first one of its kind we're going to be looking at. A doll video, or an inanimate object that's allegedly possessed, right? This comes in the form of ventriloquist dummies or statues. But in this case, it's going to come in the form of a doll that's allegedly possessed. So, okay, Dutch, you could see a clear figure. There's very clearly something there. And as long as you just stood still, you could see it, but it would slowly fade out of existence when you looked right at it. Huh. Fade out. Not like they didn't like corner peek you, they just dissolve. So 2 particular locations. It didn't follow you around, luckily. Oh, God. Corner peeking at the bottom of the stairway. That sounds freaking terrifying. Yeah, I can't freaking corner peek. I would, I would take the fading out shit. I don't know what freaked you out more, the fading away or the corner peeking? Oh, fair enough. We'll move on to we'll move on. We're gonna head on to this here doll. So these girls lit some candles around this doll and they start praying and chanting. Oh, okay. Like, what do you, I think being corner peeked would freak me out more because if I watch it dissolve, at least like there's some sense that, okay, it's not there anymore. Whereas if it corner peeks me and it just pulls away, I'm thinking like, all right, it's actually still hanging out right around the corner. Like, I think the corner peek is worse for me than the dissolve. The dissolve is just like, it's otherworldly and strange, but it's not quite as terrifying as it's still hanging out right around the corner. Yeah, they both spook. And the corner peek was like a jump scare. Yeah, I can see how the dissolve might be more like, because I've never had a paranormal encounter, but I can liken it to something like coming up upon a wild animal that could hurt you, right? And you're just scared to move or anything like that. I can imagine that the dissolving instance is a lot like that. Unpleasant in its own way. Whereas the corner peek is like a jump scare. That makes a lot of sense. So let's head on to... And the inanimate objects ones are interesting in their own right. Let's have a look at this one here. Let me make sure my settings are correct. Oh gosh, I gypped you guys on that freaking shadow spook. That's why it was so hard to see. Hold on. We'll take one more look at that. Then we'll move on to the doll. I had my resolution turned down for other reasons.
He disappears into the room where he is staying in.
I think his door gets closed behind him.
What could he capture that night on video?
Yeah, once it gets slowed down, it's like it gets grainier. Oh, because he zooms it in a little too. Good stuff. Alright, on to the doll. So they've lit these candles, and they're praying and chanting around this doll.
Was it just the breeze that moved the bracelet?
That's a pretty distinct movement out of that hand, right?
This guy.
They all just move on. They don't stop and chew it. That's pretty distinct movement from the hand, not the bracelet, right? The hand moves like towards the dress. Look at that. Yeah, I was gonna bring up, it's really hard to tell. That's the thing about inanimate objects. The movement's either so slight that it's hard to tell, and it's, right, there could be some string or some animatronic, right? I think there are blinking statues. I think those can sometimes be pretty freaky if it's done well. But, you know, I think this doll's an interesting one. What do you... let's back this up a little more. I mean, its hand definitely moves, and it looks like, you know, those kind of porcelain dolls where the body is all cotton and there's a dress on top and the head and the hands are porcelain. but it's definitely moving. It's definitely the hand moving. So, yeah, it's definitely the hand moving. And I don't think that doll has any mechanics in it. Because you know the kind of doll I'm talking about. It's that thing's got a cotton body. But that, I guess that doesn't rule out a string. Yeah, I don't necessarily rule out a string. It's true. There's a. I'll look up a ventriloquist one. We'll come back to this. I'll look up a one for a ventriloquist dummy that I think is pretty good. And it could be just a puppet. There could be somebody under the podium. There's a little bit of setup before this where they light some candles. Let me see. Yeah, there's a little bit of setup here where they light some candles. And it looks like she's on some sort of table.
So, they light the lights and start to chant. And then things start happening. What do you think?
But yeah, while all of this horrible autofocusing is going on, someone could be positioning themselves underneath the table because it's now out of shot. But they're supposedly praying and chanting, and then after about 30 seconds this happens. Yeah, big dress, floppy tablecloth. A lot of stuff a lot of space to hide stuff. All right. I'll find the there's a mannequin one that I'll find a little later, and we'll have a look at that one. Yeah, in person, that's pretty damn startling. Like if you know if you knew there was no strings because you were there and you didn't set it up, yeah, it'd freak you right the hell out. Now, the next one I wanted to look at was sort of along the same vein, right? Because these are videos I don't think about too much, because they're weird. They fall into this gap, right? They're not human apparitions, and you know, they're so strange they could almost be like camera glitches, but sometimes they're still compelling. Oh god, a whole wall of the things? Why would you? Yeah, man. I've seen one or two of those in person because my mom had a couple of them, and they're creepy. They really are, with their faces painted on and shit. Nah. So this next thing we're going to take a look at here. Well, just let's just have a look. This is security camera footage.
Turns out that this CCTV capture is a completely different story. A pinkish orb of energy is rapidly traveling up the staircase.
Now,
And I don't
orbs.
different story.
Orbs are orbs. Orbs are orbs. Oh Lord. Yeah, there's a tradition that that died, right? Those creepy porcelain dolls. You don't see those getting handed out to kids these days. But like normally when you see orbs in spooky videos, it's like usually dust or whatever, or it looks like dust, right? It's some fine particulate matter passing so close to the lens as to be out of focus and create this effect. But that ain't what this is, right? This ain't no dust. It's not close to the lens. And it clearly moves and has a direction of travel. So like, and this is CCTV footage. Like, look at that, 2020. Got you some fresh spooks. Some fresh spooks. So what in the hell is that? Like, it's not a firefly, because fireflies glow in a completely different color, right? Fireflies glow like green or something, not pink. Oh, I've adjusted volume. Okay. A reflection from a window or an insect or dust? A car driving by and reflecting off a window? That's a maybe. That's... I suppose if the window is shaped... If this place is shaped like... not flat, but... Oh, you're saying it doesn't look like that to you. Yeah, Duchess, like brake lights. I was saying it depends on how the windows are shaped, right? Like if this is just a flat set of windows, then I don't know about the brake light, because look at this, look at that turn it does. Yeah. The only way that that turn occurs is if there's like windows at that same angle, right? At about a 45 to 90 degree angle. And as the car's driving by and the brake lights reflect. Like it seems to come up the stairs, clear around the banister, down the hall. Well, I think there are windows, but they're just on the right side here. If there are windows. But I don't think that there are windows, the kind of windows that would create that sort of light distortion. So yeah, like I said, I don't normally feature orbs, but this is a good one. And I actually have another one in the same vein for you. This one comes to us from Reddit. Princess C Mononoke, with princess spelled a little different. Well, this is something a little in the same vein. It was taken in an old shopping gallery in Argentina. She wanted to know if it was legit. And it looks like comments have their own opinions. Oh no, I see. This is a... Yeah, I can see what they're saying. Comments are saying this is a brown bug crawling across a lens at work. And that actually makes a lot of sense. It's just the positioning of the stairs that make it look creepy. Or make it look like something else. But I guess now we have two to compare to, right? Here's something that's right up close to the lens. And it's like an out of focus. It's obviously an out of focus thing. You can kind of see the legs, yep. Just making his way across the screen. Whereas, which one is it? Yeah, there we go. This one's definitely not, like, it's almost in focus, really. That's the most interesting part. Like, it's not fuzzy. But yeah, this is interesting. Every now and again you come across a good orb video, and this is one of them. It's just difficult to explain. I love the little artifacts that it leaves as it trails behind, like the little circles. Like, so strange. Alright. Let's have a look at our next one. Ah! It's time to meet, for the first time on this channel, the Bizmallah guy. So, remember how those fellas in, that fella in China screamed "fuck your mother" and charged at where the ghost supposedly was, because that's how they deal with that in those cultures? So in Arabian cultures, they have a similar sort of fearlessness where they will rush in, but they don't shout "fuck your mother" so much. They shout Bizmallah, which I'm not exactly sure what it means. I think it just means "in the name of God" or something like that. So here we've got one coming out of Saudi Arabia from the adventurer Abdullah. And this is a two-parter. It ties into our earlier videos. So first,
Was it of paranormal nature?
God help.
Bismillah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله. يا حب.
These knocking noises go on for a little while, wherever he steps foot in, for some reason. But this investigation reaches its climax when Abdullah captures an appearance on the upper floor. Did he come across a jinn by any chance?
You can barely make it out, but it moves too. It's like the other shadow person from earlier. It's hard to make out, but if you slow down, it's there. Hold on, let's back it up. Take it frame by frame. Yeah, it's a big ass blob. And when it's playing fast, you can't tell. But when you play it slow, frame by frame, you can see that it kind of moves. He starts to freak out, and as he starts to... Oh no, damn. He freaked out really fast. I'm trying to see the part where it moves, because in my... I thought I saw it move backwards a little bit. Yeah, it does. It's so hard to see at certain times. But like it starts to shrink away, and I think when it starts to move, yeah, when it starts to move, that's when he freaks out. The chain up top above it? Alright, hold on. I'm gonna play this in slow motion. It'll come back to do it again in slow motion. And then it'll be in super slow motion. Ooh, yeah, there it is. Ooh. Yeah. That's some good shit right there. He's got that light directly on it, and it does not matter. You can't see what the fuck that thing is to save your life. And it might. Ooh. That's good shit right there. Bizmallah. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think would be more effective, Bizmallah or fuck your mother? I gotta learn how to say it in the original Chinese though. Fuck you, Bizmallah. I'm yelling profanities. Yeah, I'm yelling profanities. Get fucked. Get out of my fucking house. Get away from me, you son of a bitch. Oh man. Oh, there it is. It's starting to move away. What the fuck? Like, he's got the light square on it almost. Your mother is bismuth. Get fuck you, bitch. Oh yeah, that's some good shit right there. The what do I call it? Middle Eastern, that's it. It escaped me for a second. The Middle Eastern cultures believe in jinns, or genie. We call them genies because we mess up the pronunciation. But to them, jinns are evil spirits. So that's what I think they classify shadow people as jinns. I think it just created space between, when it moved. That's how you can tell it moved, is because you can see that it made space from the chain. I mean, they're both creepy, right? It's creepy if it was a human, and it's creepy if it wasn't a human. It's neither are great scenarios for the poor fella. Oh, we got a good one for you next. Hold on, let me make sure to... Yeah. Next up, I think this is South American. This couple is at home alone. I think they're a couple. I don't know. These two people are home alone. There's one other person they call out for at some point in the video, but I guess he's just filming to annoy her. I'm not exactly sure why they're filming. I don't remember him saying, but he hears something in the background. So let's have a look.
Y ahora, bueno, ahora tiene miedo la nena. Yo ya estoy acostumbrado y quiero grabar. Ay.
Maybe it was just wind at that point, right? But it gets a little bit crazier.
Ay, estoy temblando. ¿Viste? ¿Viste?
No, basta.
Se movió la
Basta, te dije que basta. Basta, bro, en serio, no me gusta.
This is a green screen.
¿Cómo que fue Maki la concha de tu madre? ¿Se movió eso?
They both are clearly startled at this point, but they don't really know what to do.
Llamala. ¡Maki!
No, amor, no grité, están durmiendo.
¡Maki!
No grité. Anda a buscarla.
How would you handle this situation?
Bail, 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 bail.
But there clearly seem to be some paranormal forces going on. Two friends from
So, there's 3 parts to this, right? There's... turn the music back on. And I'll turn the music up just a little bit. There we go. There's 3 parts to this one, right? There's the wind chimes, which are easy enough to do with somebody's hiding somewhere, like
maybe
behind a
just
chair or
wind at that
something.
point, right? But it gets a little bit crazy.
Because I don't see them stimulated again after he settles the camera on them. But this next part's good. Now, if I'm understanding this correctly, that's the metal, like that's some kind of metal sliding divider door, right? And it's getting pushed closed? And you can hear the groaning on that door. Like, if I'm not mistaken, that takes a little bit of force, does it not? That's interesting.
Se movió.
But it's hard to tell with the resolution of the footage if it's the door, right? I think it is, though. It looks like the door. Yeah, that's the noise that you hear. We'll see if I can... let me see if I can... So, let's see if I'm let's get back in focus here. I'm trying to see. It's so hard to see with the resolution of the footage, and it was already pretty wide open. So it's honestly hard to tell.
¿Viste? ¿Viste?
No, basta.
Se movió la
Basta, te dije que
cosita.
basta.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell if it was being
Se
moved or
movió.
not.
¿Viste?
Like, it seems like... let me back this up and slow it down. It seems like the top of the accordion, because it's an accordion door, it seems like the top of it gets moved some. I don't know what the hell he's recording this with, but it's like warbling. It's incredible. But the chair, part 3, of course.
No, basta.
Se movió la
Basta, te dije que
cosita.
basta.
She ain't having it anymore.
Basta, no sé qué, no me gusta.
They both.
Maki!
You handle this situation.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Well,
What were you saying?
again,
There's
how
nowhere
was
to
coming.
anchor a pull string to that chair?
Paranormal force. Well,
How do you mean?
situation.
It's a pretty clean slide, though. Oh, yeah. He comes in. You're right. He comes in and there's nobody there. That's good. Like they'd have to be way tucked up in the corner, right? Let's back up some more and see how much we can see.
How would you handle this situation?
We don't see all the way into the corner,
Well,
but we see a fair bit.
coming.
A fair bit of the way in.
How would you handle this situation?
It's good camera work if he just barely avoided the person that would have pulled the
Seem
string.
to be some paranormal forces going on.
And is that her banging on the?
Two friends from
Is that her banging on the door, or is that just something else banging on the door?
two friends.
I don't know why that video ends there. I might go look that one up. But yeah, the wind chime and the chair taken together are pretty good.
¿Cómo que fue Maki la concha de tu madre? ¿Se movió eso?
They both are clearly startled at this point, but they don't really know what to do.
Llamala. ¡Maki!
No, vos no grites,
Yeah.
estás durmiendo.
Part of what I'm gonna have to learn how to
You handle
do
this
is
situation.
learn certain key phrases in other languages so I can learn how to find these videos
Well,
and
I
at
don't
least
think
some
any
of what
help
they're
was coming,
saying.
but there clearly seem to be some paranormal forces going on.
So we're actually gonna move right on to the. Wait, is this the one? Or yeah, it is. We're actually gonna move on to the next video in this video, but we're gonna skip some of the fluff. Maybe. No, it's him, yeah. It does his narration, not them. But guess what? I've got a rake video. A crawler video, excuse me, not a rake video, crawler video. But this one's not high on my list of crawler videos. This is some dash cam footage of they're just out in some field or some such. But look at this stuff. Look at this.
It's this creature. Simply freaked out. They back up their car.
What in the fuck?
Even honking doesn't seem to disturb this creature.
What in the
What's
fuck?
your explanation for this?
Like, at the very least, they've gotten their very pale, skinny friend out into the woods naked. Like, what in the fuck? Yeah, that's one lanky ass dude. Let's back it up, and it doesn't respond to honking, which I would think a wild anything would, but maybe, I don't know, I don't deal with a lot of wild anythings. But I always thought, oh yeah, that hip is weird. It like droops way lower than it should. That's not even like even how a human would crawl similar to that, but it's got some differences. His calves look like bell bottoms. Oh yeah, look at that. I'm still stuck on those weird hips. It's back here. It's like right here where he takes this next step that you can see how weird all that geometry is. That is just strange.
Even honk.
Maybe that's how they make crawling so efficient. Oh, wow. Yeah, you're right. Those legs are way too long. Wow. I kind of brushed this one off at first, but when you examine it more closely, this one's freaky. Like, I just kind of figured they got a pale, skinny friend naked in the woods, but yeah, the anatomy of this thing is strange. It's like way too skinny and way too long, and its hips, like you said, its hips are like not to, like it's like it's got a frog's ass or something. Like, look at this shit. Like, it's got zero ass. It's amazing. What the fuck? Yeah, it's still creepy and unsettling. Okay. And I've got one more, and then we'll get into the SCP reading. So this is interesting. It's a piece of footage some friends were making while they were out off-roading. I forget the location. Or maybe I didn't hear it in the first place. No abdomen. Yeah, so thin. Yeah, that was something else.
Out. They back up their car.
Yeah, this shot in particular, this frame right here, this really gives you a look at the geometry of this thing, or just the strangeness of it. Yeah, you said no abdomen, and I had to go back and look one more time. Okay, for real this time. For realsies. Find the time code. Okay, for realsies. So check this next one out. I'm just to set up, these guys were driving. He drops the camera at some point.
Some say they can see a boy in long black trousers. What can you see?
Yeah. So there's really only one question here, right? To me, was that there before, obviously. And there's only a few frames that we get to look at to make that determination. He looks back, and when he looks forward again, there's only the briefest second before he drops the camera. And there's just a speck. Just a speck in the distance. But I don't think that's even as close to the shore as to the water as what, like, okay. There's this little speck in the distance, and then boom, he drops the camera. That's all you get of that forward-facing area That's as close as you can see to that area before the camera ends up near there, right? And it's just standing there by the time the camera lands. You said it shifts as his finger goes to grab it? He like
Some say they can see a boy.
he either
Black
missed,
trousers.
like he either didn't see it, and there's no way you miss a person. Hold on, let's back up. I think I can see what you're talking about. I see what you're talking about. You can see it between his fingers as he grabs the camera. He moves it, and as he's moving the camera, it's right there. And then he's got the camera turned around. Footsteps. Footsteps are our other big hint, right? Those are his footsteps, right? So do we see any other footsteps? Let's back this up.
Can you see? Some
Let's back up to the full thing. I see the tire tracks on the top of the screen. And then the only chance we're gonna get to see any footsteps besides his are as he's turning the camera around. But yeah, this is a good one. 'Cause like you would you say something to somebody? Here, all right, so you drop your camera, you get out to get it. There's someone standing there. Do you say something?
Some say they can see a boy in long black trousers. What can you see?
Let me go back to the setup. I want to make sure we're not missing any information.
We're on a road trip in the desert while filming the beautiful beach with their GoPro. When one of the guys drops the camera though, it captures a strange looking figure.
That's it? We don't hear whether they say they saw some? I guess the premise is they didn't see the figure themselves when they went to grab the camera. I wish I knew more about that setup. I might track down this clip and find out more about it if I can. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't even wave, I don't think. Right, that's what I was saying earlier. There's just a few frames where you get to see what's ahead of them, right? He looks forward, he looks back, he looks back. He looks forward, and there's a shadow, and I think I see the shadow you're talking about is a little wider and flatter than the shadow I'm talking about. The shadow I'm talking about might be the size of a person, but it doesn't look as close to the water as the figure in question. And then the shadow you're talking about, I think, is the one that's a little flatter and wider. And then that's all we get. We get like maybe half a second of that before the camera drops. And there's our A mystery subject. And look how close he is to the shore. It's true, they might not have noticed at the time. Look how close he is to the shore. And look how close the figure in question would be to the shore in relation to the camera, right? They'd be maybe 10 feet off from the water? Hard to say, really.
Some say they can see a boy in long black trousers.
But that's an
What can
interesting
you
one.
see?
Well, folks, it's time for our random SCP wiki reading. That's true. That's that appears to be some hot gear for that. Oh, that sounds fucked up. Daisy. That doesn't sound like any fun. So, tonight's random SCP is SCP-735. Object Class, Euclid. SCP-735 is to be stored in a locked cell at Research Site 14, with access granted to Level 2 personnel or higher after having undergone a session of preparatory therapy to interact with the device. 735 was discovered in Redacted among the personal possessions of Redacted after said individual's body had been found having committed suicide. The SCP in question is in appearance a small box constructed of a brushed aluminum-like alloy of unknown composition featuring a slot on one side. Sound is capable of being heard through this slot. When measurements are taken, the object is found to emit low-level magnetic pulses that intensify in the presence of humans. No external power source is required, and indeed the surface of the item contains no input points. Upon contact with skin, 735 will awaken and begin discussion with the person who touched it. This discussion is immediately and intensely hostile and personal in nature. The device apparently has one goal, and that is to incite the person in question to rage as quickly as possible. It does this primarily through profanity and verbal abuse, in a manner seemingly tailored to be the most discomforting to the subject. For example, during the conversation added in Addendum 735A, the vocal patterns of the device were recorded as sounding like an angry, late middle-aged man with a New Jersey accent. 735 is capable of speaking to a subject in any known language and dialect, but has a tendency to use one that will be most upsetting to the person interacting with it. A notable side effect of interaction with the box is a sharp increase of adrenaline in the subject, far more so than would normally be produced in a similar situation. A control was created by subjecting several D-class subjects to two similar devices. One was SCP-735 and the other an identically appearing box with an internal transmitter broadcasting a conversation between an actual human and the subject. In addition, the device seems to possess some kind of psychic ability, as if it is able to reference experiences and personality appearance aspects of the subject in question despite having no prior contact or in fact any kind of visual receptors. The most typical results of interacting with the object are the reduction of the subject to incoherent rage, followed by the attempted immediate destruction of the SCP. While this is occurring, the device will goad the subject on, calling attention to the futility of the actions that the subject is taking. Due to the resilience of the alloy, no attempt by a subject to destroy the device has as yet been successful. The reasons for this behavior are entirely unknown, though there are a few theories. Dr. Blank, the last researcher associated with 735, opined that it may be testing its subject. Another thought is that 735 contains an artificial intelligence that is self-aware and is attempting to commit suicide by seeking assistance. Addendum 735A. Following is a transcript of an interview with SCP-735 by Dr. Blank. Dr. Blank, touching SCP-735 awake. Hello, 735. Ah, it's you, Blank, you fat shit. What the fuck do you want? I'm coming to pick up where Dr. Blank left off with you. Haha, that stupid bastard. I hope he's having fun in that cell to get. You want to go join him so you can eat his shit? No, I'm here to talk about you today. Oh yeah, shit for brains, what about? The fact that Blank's, Dr. Blank's co-worker, has been screwing your wife for the past 2 months? That's not true, and you know it. Anyway, as I said, I'm here to talk about you, not me. Yeah, you're right. Like how you couldn't get it up last night, even though that fat shit was pounding your Damn it, I can't replace all these expletives with really creative slurs, so I'm just gonna have to replace them with expletives. Was pounding your expletive with an expletive while that expletive porn was on, huh? See, I knew you were an expletive. Becoming visibly agitated. Alright, now you know that's really uncalled for. You mean like the stink that's coming off of you? God, no wonder your expletive wife is fooling around. You look and smell like a rotting buffalo, you eunuch. You know she has her tongue in buzz expletive right now. She loves doing that. She'd never do it to you, you hairy bloated expletive. But that's okay, you like getting that from men anyway. Shut up! Shut up, I can't help it! I work in this hole all day just to afford that house she made me buy. I can't help it if I never have time to go to the gym. Ha! You miserable expletive. You haven't even seen your dick in 5 years anyway. It's too late for the gym. And you're still not making enough money to satisfy that bitch. That's why bought your expletive wife that new blouse last week. She said it was on sale. She would. She's a fucking liar and you're a pathetic fucking moron to believe her. You piece of shit, you take that back. You took that back like you took back that car you bought because the bitch wife made you? Jesus, she's got the whip wrapped around your neck, you fucking dog. You pile of shit, I'll kill you! Dr. Blank proceeds to pick up 735 and slam it against the wall repeatedly before throwing it on the floor and kicking it across the room. Ha-ha, you pansy! Hit me. Do it harder. You're a fucking weak human just like the rest of them. I wouldn't want to be one of you dirty fuckers when the Reavers finally get here. Doctor still physically assaulting 735. Fuck you, fuck you. At this point in the recording, security personnel enter the room and forcibly remove Blank. You pussy. Recording ends. Addendum 735B. After this incident, Dr. Blank is removed from the 735 project. Addendum 735C. A proposal has been requested by Dr. Blank to apply SCP-1331 to SPC-735 in attempts at reducing or neutralizing its effect. This proposal is currently being reviewed by the Ethics Committee and Site-14 administration. Well, a box that insults you into a blind rage and apparently just knows a whole lot about your life, even though it shouldn't, since presumably everything the box was saying was true. So that's interesting. And then of course there's that little insert of the Reavers. I find a lot of the SCPs are like that, right? They all have, a lot of them are tied to or know of some coming doom. But it's only ever just barely mentioned because there's a million things that are waiting to end the world in the SCP universe. And that's part of the fun. Right? Because they've got another thing that opens portals to a whole nother world full of monsters that have already ended it. Like, there's just a million different things waiting. It's a very, what's the word? Eldritch and Lovecraftian in that sense, where it's like humans are really unimportant in the SCP universe. They're just doing their best to keep a handle on things. Well, thanks for joining me, guys. I hope you had fun looking at some good spooks, some classic spooks, a couple of fresh spooks, and having some good times. We might start doing this just on Sundays. Depends on how fresh I can keep the spooks. We'll see what happens. Good times, guys. Thanks for stopping by. I will see you all. Tomorrow's Monday. Tuesday. I will see you all Tuesday. And I'll probably be streaming Magic Monday. Oh, yeah. I'm going to be streaming more of my Boros deck and trying to get through the ranked ranks. Yeah, ranked ranks. Because I got to get to that silver tier next. Good night, guys. Keep your pants clean and your eyes peeled.